Clubhouse, all the shenanigans so far. Come join me, you very Swampy and Sting, for all of their ridiculous adventures. It's 10 stories, nearly 100 pages, in one awesome book. Along the way, you'll meet characters like the Spirit Guy, Link Oz, Captain Bluebeard, the Bully Boy, Advertisement Jefferson, Aquatic Investigator, and even crazier ones like Slow Sue, Dark Movie, and so many more. So if you're a human person that likes humor, fun, and laughter, then you need MISFITZ Clubhouse. All the shenanigans so far in your life.
Going on an unexpected adventure.
All right, how are you doing out there in Facebook land? Matt and Steph are back with a Block of Destiny, and if we're back, you know what that means. We got stuff to talk about. So, Steph, what is the main reason why we are here tonight on this live stream?
Well, we've got another Kickstarter. Feels like we just ended the one right before this one because we did. But now we're moving on. We're moving along to our latest crowdfunding campaign for MISFITZ Clubhouse, which we're going to go into detail with tonight and tell you guys all about.
Sounds good to me. Trying to figure out how to get this thing to stream on old Instagram at the same time. We'll see if we can make it happen. But we're on Facebook and we're on YouTube. And we just are talking MISFITZ Clubhouse, all the shenanigans so far. It's acting like it doesn't want to cooperate over on Instagram. So you know what?
That's right.
Not even going to worry about it there. So if you're out there and you are watching us, let us know because we want to know. We want to know. So we are going to be, I've got a different setup going on tonight, so it's a little bit more confusing for me, but we're going to make it happen. So hold on one second. Give me 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to go pull up the campaign so that people can see what the heck it is we're talking about. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about MISFITZ Clubhouse. We'll talk about some Heirs of Isildur. We'll talk about some TATSUMI, the Serpent Mistress, our brand new title. And we'll also talk about some show stuff. Talk about shows we've been at, shows we'll be at, and then shows we like to watch. How's that? So first, before we even get anywhere, look at that. Look at who has jumped into the chat.
One of the boys is here.
Yo, Christian Alexander, what's up? What's up?
We're going to see you guys in August at GeekCon because they announced now.
That's right.
Unless something crazy happens, we're going to be there. So
that's right. All right. So campaign we just launched is MISFITZ Clubhouse. All the shenanigans so far. We just watched the video. Video was fun. Video was nuts. We had someone today, K-pop junkie, might have had the best quote ever. She said that video is so stupid, it's so good.
Which is exactly what we wanted. That's the highest
compliment
that we could get for something like that, because that's exactly what we were going for.
Exactly.
We didn't want it to be seriously. We have enough serious titles with Heirs and Keto and Nocturnia and Tatsumi. This is our chance to be our normal, true, silly selves, because that's really what we are.
So right now, we just launched today. It's at 7:53, 23 backers, 22 days to go. As you can see, there's a couple of things different about this campaign than when we ran a campaign the last time. And that is that our ask is much lower than we normally ask for. Normally, we have to be in the 3,500 range, 3,000 range. And we have this a little bit longer. And part of the reason being is because the type of campaign that this is, it tracks a little bit differently than serious campaigns on, there's different titles, different demographics that do much better on Kickstarter than ones that we like to say that this title is kind of like if you took Goonies and you mashed it up with Saturday morning cartoons and you put it in comic form, then you'd have Misfits Clubhouse. And those types of titles don't normally track very well on Kickstarter. So we wanted to make sure we gave ourselves a little more time, but not too much time. And we wanted to make sure our ask was a little bit less so that way we could ensure that we could actually get this thing out. Because for those of you out there that are astute fans and supporters of Insymmetry Creations, you know that this is a title that could have, might have made it to the shelves of stores a little while ago, but for whatever reason, it didn't make it to those shelves, right? And so since it didn't make it to those shelves, we now are controlling where it goes. And we have said, you know what, if we're going to control where it goes, we're going to add some more stuff in there. And it currently is nearly 20 pages more than when it would have been released previously. So we've got new stories. We had new stories that were going to be in the book before. Now we've got even more new stories, even more new content. So we are super freaking stoked about this title. Looks like we have some more comments that are flooding in over here. So let's take a look and see what they say. How you like that? So in the comments, so yeah, Christian says, how y'all doing? We're definitely going to be there for sure. Mordrax Places, a.k.a. Wade.
Oh, that's right.
Says, I'm here
trying to figure out who that was. And now that makes sense.
John
Wade's
Westhoff
going to be at GeekCon too, Wade. So just saying, we've got our GeekCon people up in the house right now.
And then Paul Williams says, love your comic book. We'll hit you up later. Dude, Paul Williams, thank you so much.
Can't forget our boy John Westhoff is in here.
John Westhoff, fellow metalhead, throwing the horns.
That's right. And
he's back here on the airwaves. That's right. We could be like Penta on WWE. We could say, zero miedo, no fear. That's why we're throwing the horns, but now we're throwing them downwards. Anyways, Steph's like, what the heck are you even talking about over there? Anyway, so right now, we're at $753 of our pledged $1,942. Why is that the number? Just because it's the number I felt like putting in there. Wasn't there a video game called that back in the 80s? Wasn't there a video game called 1942?
1942 was not a movie.
Yeah, but I also thought it was a video game, wasn't it?
I don't know about a video game.
That's why it's a number.
Weird. Now it's kind of weird that we chose 1942.
I think that was a video game that used to play. So that was why I was thinking that. So this campaign,
1942 is a very good year. Well, we're going to ignore that.
So in this campaign, we've got 4 new covers. We only show 3 at the top because nobody wants to see a sketch cover. But we've got 4 new covers. We're going to go down in the campaign. We'll look at those things first. We got the Daredevils cover. We had our artist, Raheel Mosin, went in and did us a brand new cover. One of the cool things about this cover is that we wanted to make sure that we showed off different characters and different things from across our stories. It's called All the Shenanigans So Far. We wanted to have different things represented. So you've got our kids in the cart. You have Miki, Fairy, Slothy, and Stig. You've got Old Man Willow, which is the dragon that's on the right-hand side. You got Bruce McTutherson, aquatic investigator, that's holding up the ramp so the kids can be doing their thing. Also in the water to the left-hand side, you have 2 of the characters from Bruce McTutherson, which is Sergeant Waldron and Detective Salamone. I think you guys can catch the drift about where these things are coming from. You've also got Captain Bluebeard, who you've seen as part of the header image as Darth Bluebeard. Why is he also Darth Bluebeard? Inquiring minds want to know. We know. And you will know if you back this campaign. Also, on this cover, right underneath Old Man Willow, you've got the Bully Boys. You've got Fritz Rhubarb, Melvin X. Melvin, and Johnny Buttons, a.k.a. the Bully Boys, arch nemesises of our Misfits. And last but not least, Steph, who's over there on the left-hand side? Who are those knuckleheads?
On the left-hand side?
Yeah.
You're going to have to make me go get my glasses to go and see what's on the left-hand side of this tiny
The barrels. The barrels.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Who's in the barrels?
Again, you're going to have me go get my glasses in order to see. It's
Okay.
very tiny on my screen.
In
I
the
don't
barrel,
have 5 screens with 42 inches in front of
That's
me.
true.
Okay, I have
That's
a very
true.
tiny screen.
in the barrels, there's a bunch of knuckleheads rolling down who happen to be me and Steph and Courage the cat, as well as Raheel Mosa.
Yeah, that's a surprise to me. Don't ask me any questions that have to pertain to what's on my tiny little screen, and then it'll be much less awkward for everyone.
All right, so back in the comments, Alfie Fruin says, yes, it was airplane game and then looking good. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody that is back so far today. Really appreciate that stuff. So we're going to go back, take another look here. So we have a couple more covers. So we've got the we love homage covers. Homage covers are one of our favorite things to do. And we had Emily Reset, who just got off of doing another homage cover for us for Heirs of Isildur, the Perilous Prospects, before she did the Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass homage cover for us there. And I was at a show with her, and I said, what do you think about the art style in Mario Kart? And she literally just about stood on her head in the middle of the place because that's one of her favorite things to draw. And so she was totally up to do our Misfits Clubhouse Mario Kart homage cover. And if you take a quick look at this, I know you can't see it on your tiny laptop screen, but if you're somebody that looks up in the top corner, you see the scoreboard has got the names of the mashed up character and our character together. So you've got Stigio, who's Mario. You've got Princess Meeks, who's Princess Peach. You've got Sharko, which is Birdo. You've got my personal favorite, which is Drybeard instead of Dry Bones. And then there's a couple others I don't even remember. You got Fritzer, and you've got Toady. Fritzer for...
I feel like, and I might be remembering this wrong, but I feel like that was a collaboration between you and Emily coming up with those names. I feel like I remember the conversation going back and forth on how to tie them into the Mario Kart.
So the names, the collaboration came this way, which is a good point there. The collaboration came from Emily making the mashups. Other than Stig, she's the one that came up with all the rest of it. Fairy being the red shell, Birdo, Drybeard, and all that. I came up with the names, but she's the one that put the character together with the person. And I'm like, well,
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, Captain Bluebeard and Dry Bones. Okay, so it's going to be Drybeard. So, but yeah, so she's the one that definitely chose it. She's like, well, she's like, Captain Bluebeard had to be Dry Bones because they have the peg leg. Now he's got 2 peg legs.
Yeah.
But that's that is Emily's Mario Kart homage cover. Then you go down to one of my favorites, which is the Don't Mess With Our Crew cover, which you get to see Slothy and Fairy in a little bit different look than we've seen them before. I mean, at no point before this book do you see Fairy and Slothy looking like this. Don't mess with their crew. Really love this. The art style here. And I can tell you this, for those of you out there that want to know something fun, the story that this is associated with came out after this book was supposed to be published in the first place. This story was never supposed to be in this. It was going to be something whatever later on. But when we got control of doing this again, we were like, forget this. We're going to put this in the book. We're going to get it's literally all the shenanigans so far, not most of the shenanigans so far. Right? So if the shenanigan was there, we put it in the book. So now you have talent show off, and you got Fairy and Slothy doing their thing. So it looks like we've had some other comments. Man, our comment section is rocking tonight.
Love it. I know, it's making me happy.
So I guess we're talking about the not being able to see Mordrax's place. He said, "I feel you, Steph." Yeah, Anthony Castro jumping in. Hey Matt. Hey Steph. What's going on? What's going on, Mr. Castro? So Wade also said this is my favorite cover so far. I think he was talking about the Mario Kart.
Yep.
And Anthony said, much love to both of you. You inspire me. So very much appreciate that comment. And it's interesting. We'll get into this a little bit later. We are inspired just as much as as we hope to inspire. And I feel like, you know, one of the best relationships you can have with other creators is looking up to some creators and knowing you're being inspired, knowing you've got a place to attain to, but knowing there are people that want to attain the level that you're at. And we might not feel like we're that far along, but we know we're doing some stuff that we do right. And it's good when people give that kind of comment. I mean, really, it definitely encourages us to continue working our butts off to make great products for everybody. So we'll how about we go back and take another look at this campaign? We'll see where we're at. So if you are considering being a backer, we got two things for you right here that you want to make sure you know. First thing is the first 40 physical backers are going to get a holofoil Captain Bluebeard sticker. So, you know Captain Bluebeard, he's pretty cool. He is one of our favorite looking characters. And I can tell you this, I don't know if I told you this stuff, but Dorothy Raimundo said her favorite character is Captain Bluebeard. She said she loves Captain Bluebeard. Yeah. That is her favorite character. And I can see that too. But she loves herself some Captain Bluebeard. So if you're one of the first 40 physical backers, you're going to get a Captain Bluebeard holofoil sticker. We also have a secret benefit. We're not going to put it into some secret tier or something like that, but we also have a secret benefit. The first 10 physical backers that back at a level over $50 before shipping, we have a little something extra for you that we're going to put into that. We call those elite tier levels. We're not even going to tell you what it is. We're going to give you a little bit something extra that isn't in the campaign at all, but just as a show of appreciation, you're going to get some other little things here and there. Now, if you're somebody that has everything already, you're going to be like, dude, I've already got that stuff. Why do I need it? But if you're somebody that doesn't have all that stuff, well, you're going to get extra benefit you never could have got elsewhere.
Yeah, give it to a friend or family member. Maybe they'll get into Misfits and want to partake in the issue as well.
So the last thing we have for this one is we've got the sketch cover. We have never had a sketch cover for Misfits. We've had a sketch cover. We had a regular sketch cover for Heirs of Isildur. We had a reverse black sketch cover for Heirs of Isildur. We even had people draw us on the reverse black sketch cover.
Which was awesome.
We had a sketch cover for Tales from Nocturnia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we did one for Keto, did we? We did not do one for Keto.
Nope.
Okay, so we did do one for Keto, but you know what? We wanted to have one for Misfits. Even though we've had the coloring covers, the black and white covers, we thought that having one for Misfits was going to be good. So there you go. So that's our 4 covers. So before we go into samples, I want to just quickly touch on a couple of the tiers because I think that there's something important that we want to make sure that people know about the tiers. So give me 1 second. So Steph, while I'm going to go share this a couple more times, I want you to tell people about what you think are your favorite stories in all the shenanigans so far.
It's so hard. It's like picking your favorite kid, But when we talked about this earlier, 2 stories popped into my head first. And so I'm going to go with those, even though I could probably debate back and forth on which ones are my favorites. But Morty McFeathers is Missing is the first one that came to mind. I feel like out of all of the stories, and I could be wrong, but I feel like out of all the stories, my involvement was a little bit bigger in that one. Anybody that knows me knows I give ridiculous names to everything. And when I mean everything, I mean inanimate objects, people, animals, it doesn't matter. So, and I think they're amazing, brilliant names, right, Matt?
You have some incredible names. Like, we'll talk about one of them here in just a minute, but I'll tell you, we'll talk about it in a minute. Like maybe this guy, Bruce McTutherson, aquatic investigator. The Bruce McTutherson was literally a name that Steph already had that we turned into something completely insane on our side.
So Morty McFeathers is Missing is one of my favorite. I don't want to give it away, because I want you guys to read the story if you haven't read it. But it's about one of the we in the description we say he's the clubhouse mascot, but he's their beloved Stuffy, and he goes missing. And so the gang is out to try to find him. And we get a glimpse about what happens to Morty while he's missing. And it's just it's a fun little story. There's kind of a cute little quasi twist, even though that's you're not supposed to even say there's a twist, but there is. So I love that one, and I love Old Man Willow because Old Man Willow harkens back to a lot of those. I don't even want to say scary stories, but like those stories that you would tell each other as kids if you're playing in the neighborhood and there's that one house on the street that is kind of mysterious or creepy or unkempt, and so you're going to make up stories about how it's haunted or the person that lives in it is I don't know, doing bad things, I don't know, eating kids or something. So that's sort of the feel of Old Man Willow, but again, not to give anything away, it's kind of a nice little warm and fuzzy story as well. Got some little warm and fuzzy parts to it. So those are the two that come to mind. But of course, I love Bruce. I love Bruce McTutherson. He's my favorite character because he's kind of a little bit of my creation, which doesn't always happen completely. But he's based off of something that I created with my kids. So
absolutely. 100%.
So I love anything that Bruce is in. I would love to see more of Bruce. Will that happen? You guys have to make this campaign and this book a success so we can keep on with the Misfit stories.
You know what? That's like, look at her. Look at this. Look at you out there. Listen to what Steph is saying. If you want to be able to see more Misfits, you need to back this campaign, and you need to have fun by sharing this campaign and enjoying this campaign. And like we say in the video, who is this campaign for? If you're a human person that likes fun and laughter and humor, then this book's for you. It doesn't matter what you're into in life. Everybody likes those things. And hopefully everybody watching this is a human person. And you know what? If you're not a human person, and you still want to back it, we will let you. As long as your credit card's going to go through, I don't care if you're not a human person. As long as it goes through, we'll sell it to you too.
Yeah.
So a couple other points. We said we're going to look at the tiers real quick. So our featured tier right at the top is Shenanigans, all the new stuff so far. That gets you all 4 of the different covers, the 3 variant covers, the sketch cover. And then we've got 2 other items in there, which are socks, which is our Don't Mess With Our Crew socks, and our Bruce McTuther chip, which are new to start the campaign. So the Don't Mess With Our Crew socks come off of the Don't Mess With Our Crew cover. And this is the 7th. I think it's the 7th pair of socks that we've made. I've legit lost track now.
Yeah.
So let's see. So we have brown Heirs, purple Heirs, 13 o'clock Heirs. You know what? This is our 8th. Brown Heirs, purple Heirs. Yeah. Brown Heirs, purple Heirs, 13 o'clock Heirs. That's
Dragon.
3. So we have Double Dragon, Dual Serpents. That's 5. Bruce McTuther socks, Meet the Misfit socks, and now Don't Mess With Our Crew socks. So that is the 8th.
That's going to be the 8th. Yeah.
8th different
7 now.
8th different pair of socks that we've made. And
Wade confirms and Wade would know because he owns every pair of our socks.
And we've got people that would get mad, kind of like Modrak's place, if we don't make new socks in our campaigns. And so
I would too. They're the only socks I wear these days. So
I can tell you right now, without giving anything away, we already know what like at least our next 2 pairs after this, maybe our next 3 pairs, definitely our next 2 pairs after this one. So we already know what 10 pairs of socks we're going to have. People love them. Just did Collective Con this past week, and we'll talk about that a little more later. But had a girl come up to the table. She's like, "I'm looking to buy some socks right now. I forgot to put on some socks this morning." And I'm like, "Well, dude, I don't know how that's going to happen." But she's like, "I forgot to put on socks this morning," and I'm looking to buy some socks. And she bought some 13 o'clock socks, and she seemed like she was absolutely enjoying herself and enjoying her life at that point. So we aim to please. We love our socks, and we hope you do too. So to start the campaign, that's the new items along with the sticker for Captain Bluebeard. That doesn't mean that that's all that's going to be there, but we got to get to that minimum funding level first, Because if we get to the minimum funding level, like we always say, that's when the fun begins. We already have a lot of other things we want to do, but we got to at least get to that number. That number's pretty low. That's honestly the lowest initial ask number we've ever set on a campaign.
Yeah, in Kickstarter terms, it's fairly low.
Fairly attainable, but we're going to need you to help us to get to that point. So I keep on saying, going back to the tiers. So one of the things we did with this issue, with this campaign, that is something you don't normally have an opportunity to do. We put a sample size me tier. So Misfits is told in short stories all the way through. And so we know that for some people, like for us, if we go to a campaign and we see a $10 PDF right off the bat, it's going to be hard for us to come off of that for a PDF, especially if it's a title we're taking a chance on, a new title we're not sure about. Okay? So if you're somebody that wants to support it, but you're not sure if you want to go and get all 10 stories in the full book, we did what's called sample size me. This is a sample size, basically a single issue size. It's not exactly an issue that we've done before. It's not like it's exactly the Kickstarter version or Sharks, Dragons, Little Red Wagons. We're going to pick probably like 3 stories from across our inventory, and you're going to be able to get a Misfits Clubhouse sampler set of stories that are going to be in there. So that way you're not just throwing $5 at us as, support without a reward. So that way we do that, so that way you can still get something and you can feel confident you're going to get something that you like. And then if you got that, you're like, hey, I really want to go up to the next thing, we'll find a way to help you upgrade to the full $10 PDF of the 96-page book. Let's go see if there's any more comments up here. No, we're still hanging tight over there. All right, so without going through all the tiers, because we could all do that. Hey, look at that. Sarah White just said, hey, all.
Hello.
So you got the digital of it. You've got the individual covers. You know what? I'm actually going to scroll on this side, because this side we've got all the different tiers kind of grouped up. You got the individual covers. Then you have all the covers together. You've got all the new stuff together. Then you've got some grouped tiers. You've got the Bruce McToother tier that's got the Bruce McTootherson shirt that I'm wearing. You've got a one of the game chips, or the game tokens, or the poker chips, whatever you want to call it for this one. You've got a Bruce McToother pin that's not available in any other way in this campaign. You've got Bruce's socks. You've also got this issue with the Daredevils cover that he's on, but that tier also gets you the Bruce McTootherson Sharks, Dragons, Little Red Wagons cover from the man that probably animated your childhood, Mr. Peter Rebudo. So that's why you can get everything Bruce McTootherson in the Bruce McToother tier. Did you enjoy that stuff? Are you laughing because you're like, don't even know what to make of that?
I'm used to it by now.
All right, then you've also got the Don't Mess With Our Crew cover and socks. So you got a tier where you can get that cover C and you can get the matching socks. Then we told you earlier about Emily Reset doing multiple covers for us. We have the Emily Reset tier that's got the 3 different covers she's done for us. She did the Backyard Bandits cover for Sharks, Dragons, and Little Red Wagons. She's got the Mario Kart homage, and then she also has the Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass homage for Heirs of Isildur, the Perilous Prospects 4, which we'll also talk about a little bit more in a minute. Then you have the Emily Reset tier Ultra, which has got her 3 covers, but then we also did a metal version of her Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass cover that you can get there as well. Then you go down to some specialty tiers. We got the Draw Me In tier. We weren't even sure if we were going to do a Draw Me In tier in this campaign because this book is done. But we were encouraged to do one. We talked with Raheel. We talked with Raheel. We quickly figured out a way to do it. We know how we're going to do it, and it's going to be pretty freaking fun. It's going to be a fun way to do a Draw Me In for this one. Now, one of the cool things, there were already people that have been drawn into Misfits Clubhouse in some of the issues. So they're already going to be in this thing again. And we might have some other people specially drawn in just for all the shenanigans so far. We also have the TATSUMI Tier 3 pack, which has got all 3 of those 8 pairs of socks we talked about earlier. You've got those 3 pairs of socks, and you've got the Don't Mess With Our Crew cover. If you wanted a different cover, just let us know. But you get 1 copy of the issue, and then you've got 3 different pairs of socks to warm your feet at night. Then we've also got 2 different sets of collector's packs. So what these collector's packs are, there's been officially now 5 releases for Misfits. That doesn't mean that they're all different releases, but there's been 5 releases. So you've got a Misfits Clubhouse ash can that was released into distribution, into comic book stores, that's got Morty McFeathers is missing in there. 1 story. You've got our original Insymmetry Creations #1 that had 2 stories in there. Then you've got the distribution version of #1 that had a different arrangement of stories, but it had what was in the ash can and some of the similar stories to ours, but it wasn't exactly the same. And then you've got Sharks, Dragons, Little Red Wagons that was released only through us that has 4 stories in there. Between those 4 versions of the issues, there's a grand total of 8 stories that were included, mixed and matched in there. All 8 of those stories plus 2 brand new stories are in the collector's pack. They're in all the shenanigans so far. So in the collector's pack, you're basically getting all the different, one of each of the releases. I mean, it's not every cover, it's just one of each of the releases. Then in the completionist pack, you've got 18 different covers across those 5 official releases. So that one gets you every cover. There are some covers in there that truly never even saw a release. There's one that was in distribution from Comic Tom. Comic Tom did the Calvin and Hobbes homage, but then he also did a Calvin and Hobbes nighttime homage that never actually got a release. It just was there. It just was there and you could go find it, but it never was actually released anywhere. So that completionist 18 cover pack has got every cover that we can find. There's only, I think, 10 of those in the campaign. If somebody wanted to jump and get that, because we don't have a whole lot of those covers around here. So we needed to make sure that we could actually go and fulfill those if somebody wanted those. And then if you're a retailer, we know that there were some retailers out there that tried to get these into the store and it was unsuccessful. Now we have got our retailer packs. We can promise you, we will make sure these actually get to your doorstep. They can get on your shelf. We have these retailer packs on there, different price points on there. If you see something you want for your store, but it's not listed on there, contact us. We will find a way to make it work. I live daily by the adage that my late brother Mark said, and that is you never want to be in the sales prevention department. And that is something neither Steph and I want to be in, is the sales prevention department. And so whatever we have to do to try and help make a retailer be able to get this onto their shelf and feel good about it, we want to try and do that. Does that sound good to you there, Steph?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so. Oh, crap, look at that. Since we've been on here, it looks like we picked up a couple more backers. So we are now at 817 with 25 backers. So that means we were hoping to be able to get to 1,000 today, which would get us,
the day is still young.
It's a good checkpoint to get to 1,000, and that's a little over 50% of our 1942. So, but you know what, though? That's good. That means we got a couple of nice backers right now. So, look at that. So, William Grant said, "Why aloha from the Comics Hawaii crew sharing this." William Grant, all the way from Hawaii. Thanks a lot for doing that, dude.
It's awesome.
That's super awesome. Okay, so Steph, do you want to continue talking about Misfits, or do we want to take a quick break from Misfits and we can talk about some of the other things we have going on?
I think we should talk about some of the other things we have going on and wrap back up with Misfits.
I think that sounds like a great idea. So we're going to do this and go, or do we want to do this?
No, God, please no.
Okay.
No one needs to see us that close.
You want to be able to see Darth Lubin in the background, don't you?
No.
Okay. So we talked about, we had a couple of other things we wanted to talk about. Those things being, first and foremost, we just finished, as Steph mentioned earlier, Heirs of Isildur, the Perilous Prospects for that campaign. We are so freaking stoked about that book. And unless you were reading our newsletter or unless you were a backer of that and saw the campaign update, we had some big news on that the other day, which is all of the internal art for that book is done. So all the pencils, all the inks, all the flats, all the letters, all the colors are all done. All the pages are done. Now there is only 2 things left. Actually, 3 things left for us to do, and that book is going to get sent off to the printer. We've got a couple of pages in the very beginning of the book that are not finalized, that are lead-ins to the story. That has to get done. We have to have the final editing pass, because once everything is in there, you want to make sure you're going to go through and do full read-throughs and do all kinds of stuff like that. And then it's the final preparation and saving of the pages to go to the printer. It's off to the printer. Steph, how stoked are you that we are this close to being done with Heirs of Isildur, the Perilous Prospects 4 right now?
Feels like it's been a long haul. It really does. And not in a bad way, just it's taken a long time. And it's going to feel nice to say that it's done. I mean, it is done, but to have that completely off our plates, move forward with the next title and our other titles. So I'm ready to say it's completely finished and done. But of course, it's been great to work on. It's just time. It's time to wrap it up, put it to bed, and look ahead at all the other things that we're going to be doing.
And the insane thing about it wrapping up and moving on to the next thing is it's not like we don't already have our, oh my gosh. Sorry. Freaking Martin Piero. Okay. Pause. We're going to go back to Heirs in a second. Martin Piero in the comments just said, but it doesn't have ... dumps like a truck. So, just did Collective Con this past weekend. I roomed with my boy Martin Piero at this show. For whatever reason, and I don't remember what started this whole descent off the cliff.
Are we really going to say the name of the song on our All Ages campaign video right now? Really? We're going to do that? I don't think we should.
Martin got a song. Martin got a song stuck in his head. And it was literally the song of the con.
Yeah. Well, we'll just leave it at that since this is a title for all ages.
It didn't matter where we were. We were outside the Walmart with the windows down, and Martin is doing this through the parking lot, literally yelling out the window, "Hey, you love this song, don't you? You know the lyrics." And I'm like, oh.
In Jacksonville, of all places.
Yeah. But you know what, though?
Anybody from Jacksonville.
But you know what, though? We're having fun with it. It's a laugh. That's so, right. Okay, so what we're saying about Heirs of Isildur is we're getting ready to put it to bed. However, we're still working on Heirs because book 4 is the first part of the finale, and we are deep into the finale already. All the art is already done on that from a inking or pencils and inks perspective. We're still working on the colors on that, but we already know where the Perilous Prospects arc is going to finish because it's done in that respect, and we're just working on completing the book. Martin said he agrees with Steph. Don't say the title.
Yes.
So we do have one other thing to show you and talk about really quick before we wrap on this stuff. We did say we want to do a little bit of a what are we consuming. So we do have another campaign that's going to be coming out in May, end of May. Tatsumi the Serpent Mistress, issue number 1. This is a brand new series that we're going to be doing. As you can see, we are very busy people. We are literally in the process of working this brand new series that we are so stoked on. We are done with the pencils and inks on issue 1, and we are already working the script and the art on issue 2. We've already got some super cool stuff that we're working on. We're that far out for issue 2 that we already know is going to happen for issue 2. But we are so psyched to get this title out there because this is totally different than any of the other current titles that we have. It is a spin-off. It builds off of the I Am Keto one-shot graphic novel. For I Am Keto, we said that this was like, I Am Keto was like Mortal Kombat and Soul Calibur meets Mad Max. And for Tatsumi, we say it's like, imagine Pirates of the Caribbean and the live-action One Piece meeting your favorite martial arts heroine. Tatsumi is the only person in that universe that survived the Dark Conquestor and the Soul River Massacre of the Yamaran Empire. She's the last remaining daughter of a fallen empire, and she's hell-bent on retribution and revenge. And this story is fun. There are some things that, as we've been putting it together, I'd be like, Steph, when you see this kind of story, what do you want? She's like, I need swashbuckling. And we're like, okay, swashbuckling is happening in this story. And we found a way to make that happen. There are other things, without giving it away, that I'm like, if we're going to be in this certain scenario, we're going to have this kind of setting. She's like, we've got to have that kind of setting. We found a way to make that work. I said, if we're going to have that kind of setting, we need to go after this certain cameo. And she's like, I don't know why you didn't think about that earlier. I'm like, I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier either. But we're making all of these things happen. It's a fun thing in the background to develop, but it is a dark, dark story. If you look at, okay, here's a question for you, Steph, because you know where we're going with Tatsumi right now. Out of Heirs, the I Am Keto story, Tales from Nocturnia, and Tatsumi, which one do you think is the darkest overall story in what we're telling?
I mean, honestly, I would say it's Keto.
Yes.
It doesn't get much darker than, a Fall of an Empire. And there's more horror aspects in Keto than there is some of our other main titles. But it's definitely present in Tatsumi as well. It's just that we didn't want it to be completely dark. We wanted there to be some fun, and it's a different type of fun than what we're talking about with Misfits. This is more, like we said earlier, swashbuckling fun, like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's action. It's a lot more action, which makes our artist very happy because he loves drawing action scenes, Alessandro Ventura. So he's very happy because he gets a lot more of those actiony scenes, and they're fun to write. So it's good. But yeah, I would say Keto's the darkest, in my opinion.
You know what? I think you're right. And you know what, though? If you're somebody that's watching this and you've read our stories, we'd like to know what you think. What you think the darkest story is. I think you're probably right, because Keto, in the Keto story itself, there's not a whole lot of room for redemption within the story, because Keto goes through a portal, becomes a part of the Heirs of Isildur story, and so he gets his chance for redemption in Heirs of Isildur. But in the Yamaran Empire, up until you get to that, where that Tatsumi has survived, it's pretty freaking dark. Some of the stuff we had to do to the characters, I know that we've said this before, but if watching this for the first time, we probably had some of the hardest character decisions we've ever had with the characters in I Am Keto. We literally got to certain points where we were like, do we really want to do this? It was so troubling for us that even our colorist on that, Alan Emanuel, was like, he got to certain pages and he was like, have you no heart? Is this what you're going to do to this character? I love this character. And we're like, we had no choice, but it is what it is.
Tatsumi is what we're talking about now. So
yes.
Keto is available, but Tatsumi is what we want to hype up.
Yeah, and Tatsumi, as you can see, Tatsumi doesn't look like somebody in a hidden Far East empire in this picture. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for us saying a word like swashbuckling. As that campaign gets closer, we're going to start doing some character reveals, and you're going to see how different the environment is she's going to be in. But at the same time, there are some similarities to where she came from as well. So it's going to be really fun. We've had a lot of fun developing these new characters and scenarios, and we can't wait to get there. But in saying that, on the other hand, we can and will wait to get there, because we are currently all in and stoked about Misfits Clubhouse, all the shenanigans so far. That is the campaign that launched today. That is the campaign that we can't wait to get these stories out there to you. So you see, there's some beware of Slothzilla. We haven't even explained to people how Slothzilla even comes into existence.
Yeah, buy the book and find out.
But one of the things we wanted to make sure that you knew, you might like this if you're a human person. All aliens are welcome to, as long as you aren't like those face sucker kinds. If you're a gray or a green, we're good with that. But if you're like somebody that's going to try to like rip our face off or do like in the Aliens movie, forget that. You guys are out of here. That's where I draw the line. If you enjoy fun, humor, and laughter, if you're a fan of the Goonies, Looney Tunes, Gravity Falls, Adventure Time, and or Saturday morning cartoons, and you might say, Matt, Steph, why do you mention the Goonies? Here's why. Do you want to explain why we think the Goonies has got a parallel to this, Steph, or you want me to?
Well, when we were first talking about it, we were trying to compare it to movies or TV shows where it was a group of kids who were going on an adventure. And the thing about it is that if we were to mention that to a lot of people, they may say like Stranger Things or, Super 8, because those are a little more recent. The thing about those titles is they're great, but they're a little more serious, and there's a lot more horror sci-fi aspects, and the kids are older. Our kids fit the demographic of the Goonies kids a lot more, and the adventure that the Goonies go on, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's one exactly like that in the Misfits stories, but it makes more sense because it's not that those kids aren't ever in peril, but there's no, monsters coming up from,
Yeah, so yeah, the Goonies
depths of the earth or anything like that,
Yeah.
or some experiment gone wrong. We're not going that route with these stories. So it felt like just the feel, the vibe of Goonies is matches with Misfits better.
Yeah,
than
the 80s lightheartedness is pretty much where it is, and that's why we're comparing it to Goonies. So if you're a fan of the Goonies and you like Saturday morning cartoons and you like comics, then this is the title for you.
Yeah.
So quickly, let's meet the Misfits. We're not going to read this all. You've got 4 Misfits. You've got Miki, Fairy, Slothy, and Stig. They have some other characters that you're going to run into across the course of their stories. People like the Asparagines. The Asparagines debuted in the very first pilot story that we ever did for Misfits. That pilot story, I Don't Want Any Asparagus, skews a little bit younger than where we've kind of settled on for our kids. But I mean, you look at early Charlie Brown, you look at early Mickey Mouse, they're a little bit different than what was settled on as things kind of move forward. That's kind of the same with us. They're a little bit younger and I Don't Want Any Asparagus than where every other story is, and we're okay with that. You've got Captain Bluebeard, which you've seen multiple versions. We've seen Captain Bluebeard and Darth Bluebeard. You've got the Bully Boys, who we mentioned earlier. You've got Bling Paws the Alien, who is one of the central characters in the longest story for Misfits.
Yeah.
And you've got Bruce McTutherson, Aquatic Investigator, which, as we said, came from a character that Steph literally has as a stuffed animal at her house. So the table of contents, there are 10 short stories in this issue. You've got I Don't Want Any Asparagus, which we just talked about. Pinball Madness, where the kids get trapped in a pinball machine and have to play their way out. Dress Up Mess Up, which is a Halloween special. We had a lot of fun with that one. Beach Bash Bonanza. Captain Bluebeard gets word that the Misfits are gallivanting around the ocean shores. So he plots a course for their destruction. But will their cunning creativity be more than he and his crew can handle? So we had so much fun creating that story. In those stories we already talked about, there's already like 7 or 8 draw me ins in the stories we've already talked about, which is great. Morty McFeathers is missing. I feel like the name Morty McFeathers, I don't remember if you came up with that, if Richard Rivera came up with that, or if it was just the three of us in a mind meld discussion.
I mentioned it earlier in the show, but it was mostly me. I think you came up with Morty. I think we wanted him to have McFeathers is definitely me, but I think we wanted him to have a silly kind of like older sounding first name because we thought it would be funny.
Yeah, I know that Richard was involved in those conversations and that brainstorm, so I just don't remember which cups we all poured into the pitcher there, but I know that he was definitely kind of in that silly zone with us that time. Then we have Old Man Willow, which we talked about earlier, which probably, if you want to talk dark stuff, one of the scenes, because we've been putting these, a vertical scroll version of these onto Webtoon Canvas. And we just put one up there tonight. We're probably going to get to 1,000 reads on Webtoon tonight, which it's a minor goal, but it's still a goal. One of the webisodes for Old Man Willow is by far the darkest webisode of all the Misfits stories. I mean, it is freaking dark, but there's a point to that darkness, and it actually has a good resolve. So really fun with that. Bruce McTutherson, Aquatic Investigator. That is the Misfits' favorite episodic show that they watch. Think about how the Cosby Kids used to go back to their clubhouse to watch The Brown Hornet, and The Brown Hornet was like a series within a series. That's how Bruce McTutherson, Aquatic Investigator is. It's a series within a series inside the Misfits universe. Barrel Peril, which was a fun story we did. We had a lot of drawings in this one. It was the Misfits' attempts to pull off their biggest stunt ever. Unfortunately for everyone, it goes terribly wrong or doesn't go incredibly right. Then we get to 2 brand new stories that have never been seen anywhere, not on Webtoon Canvas, not in a Misfits release. Talent Show Off. The day of the big talent show, and the Bully Boys are ready to take home that trophy again. But there's someone with a brand new routine, and they're ready to wow the crowd. Will it be enough to defend or defeat the defending champs? Steph, what do you think? Do you think this unnamed person can defeat that defending champ?
I think if you want to find out, you're going to have to put your pledge down, get the book, and find out for yourself.
So real quick, Cosmic Times TV said, is Bruce coming back? Well, you just answered that. And I'm like, I don't know if we did or not. Because Bruce...
Earlier I mentioned that we want. If we can move forward with Misfits, then we definitely want more Bruce, because people have responded really well to Bruce.
And pretty much every character, I think there's maybe only one of the named characters that we only see in one story. Actually, no, I think every side character is in at least 2 stories.
Yeah, we've really tried to make sure that we've cycled through them enough so that it's not just a one and done type of thing.
A small little recurring. You might see them in different ways. You might not just see them in the same way every time. But then last but not least, we have Glitch in the Matrix. An unexpected gift has transported the Misfits into another dimension. Will they be able to figure out how to get back before dinner's ready? So, you've seen things like Darth Bluebeard, Slothzilla. You know, there's other things in that story that are super fun. Maybe that's where you get Darth Bluebeard and Slothzilla from, is that right there. But you're going to have to go and back the campaign, Misfits Clubhouse, all the shenanigans so far, to be able to see and read all those stories. So, real quick, we said we would give a quick recap of the shows from the weekend. So real quick, that's where we're at. We're still at $817, 25 backers. It will be great for us to get to 1,000 before the end of the day. But anybody, if you back for $1, $5, $10, you back a Draw Me In tier, we appreciate you and we celebrate every time anybody backs us. So it doesn't matter if you're like, well, my $1 is not going to make a difference. Your $1 is going to make a difference. Your $5 is going to make a difference. Every little bit helps. So we said that we would give a quick recap. This past weekend, we're at Collective Con. I was there for Collective Con. The schedule didn't work out this year for Steph to be there, which is okay.
I major FOMO. That's the first time I've missed that show, and I was very sad about it.
And this is the sixth year in a row that Insim has been represented at Collective Con, and Steph wasn't able to be there, but that's because I was just out there in California doing some signings, some comic store signings at DJ's Collectibles with Chess and Quinn. And then for the first time ever, I was at Steph's local comic shop over at Collector's Choice. And you guys in Visalia showed the heck out and did a solid for Steph and showed that you guys are a force to be reckoned with. The store was great. The store promoted the heck out of us. They did a great job driving sales to us, driving customers to us. And your people crushed it. Totally, it was awesome. So that was just a couple weeks ago. And then in a couple weeks, Steph is going to be here so that we can be down at Spookala. Spookala in April.
Time, one of my favorite shows of the year. I'm so
Spookala,
excited. One of my favorite shows of the year. Anyone listening, one.
Yeah.
Because there's other shows that we do that I love very much.
Well, but so I think we can say this. Spookala, we have a different role at that show.
Yeah,
me being the MC and the host. Steph has got different responsibilities when it comes to
fangirl. So
she has different responsibilities when it comes to being a part of the research team. She and I have a very intensive process when it comes to how we research, and so we have a different responsibility of the show, but it's a very fun responsibility. Doing all the emceeing, all the interviews on the stage. This show is going to be wild. There's a lot of really fun panels. I know Steph's favorite panel that she is looking forward to the most is
the Jurassic Park panel.
So let me.
Joseph Mazzello and Ariana Richards, the kids from Jurassic Park who aren't kids now, and for some reason they're like my age, which is really weird because when I remember watching that movie, I felt like they were like, at least Joseph Mazzello felt like he was a lot younger than me, but I guess he was the same age as me, so I don't know.
So let me tell you, when he was announced, Steph said to me, "Oh, I wonder if they're going to be able to get the other kid, if they're going to be able to get the girl. That would be so cool." I had no idea that was what was in the plans, and I caught wind of it before the official announcement was made, and I'm like, "Oh, Steph is going to lose her freaking mind over this," and I waited till we were on video chat, and I sent the thing over to her. I was like, "Hey, what's the name of the other kid from Jurassic Park? What was the other kid's name?" And I sent it to her, and she went,
"Yeah, I was very excited."
That's literally the reaction she got, which was pretty fun.
It's one of my favorite movies. It's what set me forward in wanting to be involved in movies and writing and creating. And so it's going to be one of those things where it's not just, hey, I'm meeting, my idol or something like that. This is just, they were part of a movie that is foundational for where I'm at right now in my life. And so, I'm a fangirl and all that stuff, but hey,
And you know what, though? That's okay, because there's people I fangirl or fanboy over. I can tell you right now, we're at Collective Con. We get to do a panel. We do a panel, at least a single panel every time. This time it was with Martin Piero and Peter Raimundo, but I'm not the MC and the host. I'm not dealing with the celebrities in that respect. And I did get to have a conversation with literally the two people I actually wanted to talk to, and that was J.D. Pardo and Emilio Rivera from Mayans and Sons of Anarchy. And they both were super freaking cool. And Emilio, at one point, I was in the green room, I was walking past in our steampunk gear, and he literally looked at me and he went, like, "Dude, that's pretty cool stuff." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I just vibed with the leader of the freaking Mayans." So I went over and talked to him later on, and I said, "Look, I was so happy when Chris, the showrunner for Collective Con, involved him in the show, because it opened up a whole new fandom." I told him, "I don't think you know what you did by getting J.D. Pardo in here." I'm like, "That's huge. J.D. Pardo is the main character in the Mayans." And I told Emilio, I said, one of the things I liked about his character was that he was trying to be a father in an unfatherable situation. And he went, "Dude, a father in an unfatherable situation? Dude, what's up?" And he's like, "I love that, man. I never thought about my character like that." I was like, "Dude, that was a cool, fun little discussion I had with him." So there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of fanboy or fangirl situations. I know that Martin absolutely was fanboying over Famke Jensen being there. And I don't know why he never went up and talked to her. Probably for his benefit, it's probably good he didn't go talk to her.
He probably would have started singing that song.
He probably would have jumped up in dom 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 dom. I didn't say it.
Okay.
I didn't say it. I just did the beat. Dom 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 dom. Oh my goodness. All right. So
and it never goes down. No, I'm just kidding.
So
we were going to talk about what we're consuming.
That's right. So one of the things that we do in our written version of our newsletter, we have, from time to time, we do a section called "What Are We Consuming?" And we talk about books that Steph might be reading, metal releases I might be listening to, shows you might be watching. Let's not get too deep into it because I know that you just wrote one.
I did, but I have another one that I want to talk about really quick.
So let's talk about that. So let's talk about it because I don't even know what it is she's going to talk about. So Steph,
we have been talking about it.
Okay, so what is it you want to talk about?
Okay, so I'm late to the game because season 3 right now is currently out. But I just started watching The White Lotus as a recommendation from my daughter, and I'm completely obsessed. I binged all of the first season over the weekend while I was FOMOing, and Matt was away in Collective Con Jacksonville, so I was sad. So I just binge watched the show, and now I'm like almost through season 2. But for those that don't know, it's an anthology series, so there's maybe a character that might be recurring, but otherwise you could probably watch them in any order, but I would watch the first season first. Anyway, anthology series set at a chain of resorts. It's a different location each season, and a different cast for the most part each season. And it's insane. Like, I don't want to give much away, but there's some mystery to it, but it's mainly examining the lives of rich people and their craziness. So it's got amazing cast of actors in it. Jennifer Coolidge is in it, and if I couldn't love her anymore, she's amazing. But it's not for everybody. It's if you've seen the first season, it's crazy, and it shows things that I never thought I would ever see on TV. Let me just put it that way. Never thought I would see it.
Fair
The only time
enough.
I've ever seen it was insane. Literally had to Google and be like, did this actually happen? Please tell me this did not actually happen. And thankfully it didn't. But it is great. I'm addicted. And it's just, yeah. So
All right, so I'll give you guys one quick thing that I've been consuming recently, and that is, I'm going to put the link in the chat. And that is my buddy Zach Leeser. You have heard me talk about his music on this show on a regular basis. He just released a brand new EP, and it is absolutely incredible. There is brutal. I love brutal music, but I also love other like folky style stuff. I can tell you right now that this is in no way, shape, or form anything folky. It is just crushing extreme metal, really, really good stuff. And I can tell you right now, it's probably set the bar for every other release to come in 2025. Doesn't mean it's going to be a release of the year, but I would be very surprised if it's not in the top 5 EPs of the year, maybe in the top 5 releases of the year, because it's just nasty. Driving home from Jacksonville, there was only 2 things I listened to on the way home from Collective Con, and that was the Zach Leeser EP and the entire discography of the Dread Crew of Oddwood, who play pirate metal. That is the only 2 things I listened to the whole way back, because they just that's what it needed.
And also what we are consuming together is the show Paradise on Hulu. First season, premiere season. Heard a lot of buzz about it. I told Matt, I'm like, I think we need to see this because a lot of people are raving about it. It's got Sterling K. Brown in it. I do not want to spoil it, but you think it's one show, it's going to be one thing, and then they just flip it completely upside down at the end of the first episode, and we were like, what the heck are we watching?
So if you're watching it, we're only partway through the season, so definitely if you're watching it, do not spoil it for us, and we're not going to spoil like what Steph just said the first episode. I will tell you, there have been episodes, like the first episode of Reacher, season 3, episode 1 is
it's so good.
That was a great episode because you thought you were looking at a story one way, and as they peeled back the onion, as that episode went on, you realized like every scene, oh wait, I was seeing something one way, oh wait, I was seeing something another way. But we've seen stories told that way before. 11-14 is an incredible movie that we both love that does things that way. The first episode of Paradise, if you've never watched this show, go into it without reading anything about it, because I didn't read anything about it. If you don't even want to watch the entire series, as a writer, as a story constructor, go watch that first episode of Paradise and just immerse yourself in it so that when they twist it, when they do, you can be like, what in the freak just happened? So insane. So incredible. what they did at the end of that episode. So, Steph, are you ready to wrap this stuff up?
I think we probably should. It's been already an hour, which is kind of crazy. That went by really fast. Yeah.
So along the course of this campaign, as you see, we've had this go a little bit longer than we normally would for a couple of reasons. One, if we would have ran this 17 days like we have been doing recently, we would have had it ending on the travel and setup day for Spookala, and we can't do that. We can't have a campaign end when we are literally traveling to a show. Yeah. Granted, we're going to be at a show for multiple days of this campaign, so that final weekend is going to be tough because we're going to be in a completely different mode. So we're going to be counting on you guys to help us to be able to promote this while we're away at Spookala.
Yeah, help us out.
The other thing is that, again, we know the kind of title this is. We know that these titles have an uphill battle on Kickstarter. It's just not something where it tracks well. And we wanted to make sure we gave this title time to be able to do the things it needed to do. We've got a few live streams scheduled. We know we've got one coming up this Sunday with K-Pop Junkie, which is going to be awesome because she is freaking awesome. She rocks. She rocks. She's such a great host. We have a lot of other ones we're trying to line up, or we're gonna line up ourselves. We are probably going to be back here doing our own live streams. We're going to make sure we invite some other people on that have also got campaigns running, so we can take a look at those as well. We can get their campaigns up front of some other eyes, and we'll go from there. So I am going to drop our link one more time in the chat, and then we can go really quick and go back and look at our campaign one more time. Unless you say no, we're not going to do that stuff. So.
No, I think we're good.
All right, so there is our link going back in the chat. All right, so we're going to go back over to our Heirs campaign one more time, and then we will get the heck out of here. So there we go. So we picked up another backer. So and that backer took advantage of the $5 tier. So we did that on purpose. We knew that there were going to be some people. We know that a lot of times we have a difficult time going over $5 to back a campaign. If there's fellow creators, we want to make sure there was value at that level. So somebody else is taking advantage of that. So that's great. So we're $178 away from $1,000 on day one. Can we get there? Who the heck knows? But you know what? If we don't, we are thankful for every one of those backers, every one of those dollars that's come in. We are on our way to being able to make Misfits Clubhouse, all the shenanigans so far, a reality. We know that there are a lot of people out there that have been waiting for this thing to come out. It is an issue. It is a book that has taken far too long to get out there. And now we are assuring you this is going to get out there. It's going to be bigger and better than it ever would have been at any point in the past. And we are super, super psyched about this thing. Steph, is there any final words you want to give people if they're not sure if Misfits Clubhouse is for them? What would you say to somebody that was like, sell me on Misfits Clubhouse right now? I think I want to back it, but I need you to give me that one little bit to push me over the edge to make me hit that sell button.
I think a good way, because we already touched on a lot of the other things about the feel of it, but this is a nice... The good thing about it being a collection of short stories is if you're somebody who's busy or you come home from work or whatever it is that you're doing and you're like, I have 10 minutes, I just want to shut my brain off and I just want to forget about my day or the world or whatever else is going on. Lots of crazy stuff going on right now. You can escape into this. This is perfect. These are not long stories. This is not, even though you might look and say 96 pages is a lot, but it's a collection of 10 short stories. So if you have 10 minutes and you just want to kind of reset and before you go on about the rest of your day or at the end of your day, you can pick up this book, pick one story to read. And I feel very good in saying that you are going to feel refreshed. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel happy. You might have had a laugh or two or grown a little more attached to our characters as the more stories that you read. So it's escapism.
So you know what, though? I do think before we get out of here, we owe it to ourselves on this very first live stream. We started the show off with it. I think we need to go back and show the video 1 minute, 11 seconds, one more time, and then quickly talk about how this video came about, and then we can get out of here. All right? Sound good to you? Here we go.
It's time for MISFITZ Clubhouse. All the shenanigans so far. Come join me, Fairy, Swampy, and Sting for all their ridiculous adventures. It's 10 stories, nearly 100 pages in one awesome book. Along the way, you'll meet characters like the Asparagus, Link Oz, Captain Bluebeam, the Bully Boy, and Horseman Jefferson, Aquatic Investigator, and even crazier ones like Snow Suit, Dark Bluebeam, and so many more. So if you're a human person that likes humor, fun, and laughter, then you need MISFITZ Clubhouse. All the shenanigans so far in your life.
Going on an unexpected adventure.
All right. So let's talk about that video real quick before we get the heck out of here. So we knew we wanted to do something silly. We knew we wanted to have a video that was really going to play on the fun foolishness of what MISFITZ Clubhouse was and is going to be. And when we put that video together, we just wanted to be nutty. As that video went on, I think it was just, let's make this video even sillier and sillier and sillier as we go. And that video was a very good lesson in sometimes it just takes one person. So Steph and I had talked about doing a voiceover on that video. And we went back and forth. You know, we already had the words in there, already had the music in there. I think there was like 2 sound effects, maybe 3 sound effects in the whole video. And yeah, there was 3 sound effects in the whole video at that point. And we kind of had the pendulum leaning away from doing the voiceover. And then one of our friends, Richard Rivera, saw it, and he's like, you know what this video needs? This video needs a voiceover. And as soon as he said it,
that settles it.
as soon as he said it, I'm like, we both knew that meant that it just needed to be. And I was like, okay, if there's going to be a voiceover, I'm going to take this the most ridiculous way I can. And I channeled my most ridiculous Will Arnett, and then Diedrich Bader, who played the karate guy in Napoleon Dynamite, and then a little bit of Matthew Berry from What We Do in the Shadows, who plays the vampire Laszlo, who has in interviews said that he just makes the lines more ridiculous just so he can entertain himself. So I'm like, I'm just going to be so stupid in this video, just see if I can entertain myself. And
because I know Matt, he's never over the top. So
No.
This was completely new for him.
Especially-
He's never energetic.
No.
So he really had to pull from.
It was definitely step reaching outside my comfort zone for sure. Not
Also, some people are surprised to hear that that's Matt doing the voiceover.
Yeah.
But it's him.
It's because I allowed my voice to be a lot higher than normal in the video. Normally I'm doing death metal vocals and being crazy, and I'm like, I'm just gonna be like this. I'm just gonna be like this in the video. Come on, guys. And that was just my voice. That's just what I did. But we just let that video get sillier and sillier. The line at the very end where Steph says going on an unexpected adventure. Going on an unexpected adventure was just Steph when I was out there in California, just being silly in a little clip. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and fit this in the video somewhere. And I told her I tried to fit it in there, and she was like, oh, that sucks. That was a good idea. You know, that was nice you did that. And when she said that, I'm like, we had the voiceover. I'm like, I'm fitting this freaking thing in the video somewhere. I don't care. Then we got near the end, and she's like, oh, you know what? It would have been cool if we put a Wilhelm scream in this video. That stinks. We didn't put a Wilhelm scream in this video.
No, the first thing I said, because he said that he was starting to add sound effects. And I said, well, if you're going to add sound effects, because he talked about the horn. And I said, well, you've got to do this. And what I said, because I don't know what the actual name of this is, but everybody knows it when you say it. And he knew exactly what I meant. I'm like, it's the sports celebration horn. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know. And
funny,
it was already, unbeknownst to me, he had already added
it was already in the video. And then we thought it was done. And she's like, oh, that stinks. I wish you could have added a Wilhelm scream. And I'm like, hold on.
We need a Wilhelm scream.
I went back to
that's what we do is if we're watching something, anytime there's a Wilhelm scream, we had to point it out. Kind of like, like people that drive past cow, they always have to point out that there's cows or something. That's us. We're like, Wilhelm scream, anytime we watch it. So that was kind of our thing that we had to put in there.
So it was just having fun with it. We just tried to add as much fun and stupidity into that video as we could. And that's what we ended up with. All right. So with that being said, we'll take one last look. We are at 822 we'll just double check, make sure we go and refresh because sometimes it doesn't like to refresh if it's on a back screen. All right. 822 of $1,942, 26 backers, 22 days to go. So we are super stoked, super thankful that we are at that point already on day one. We have got 22 days to go. But if you are somebody that is a fan, a supporter, an understander of Kickstarter, that Kickstarter basically is the very early beginning and the last day or so is when you see the most activity. Everything in the middle is just called the dark void. So we know we have a lot of work to do to make sure that middle section is going to actually be active. And we're ready to do it because we believe in this book. We believe in the stories. We believe in the products that we have. And more so than some of the other campaigns, we can't wait to get to the point where we can talk about stretch goals and we can talk about some add-on unlocked items because we have some really fun stuff that we can't wait to get to in this campaign. But we need you guys to help us get there by backing it and sharing it and talking about it and helping people know that this is something that is going to be fun for them. They could get it. They could give it to their little nephew, Jeffrey. They could get it and give it to, Penelope, their granddaughter, but they could also get it for themselves. They could also get the collectible things for themselves and feel good about it as well. It's for the young. It's for the young at heart. It's for you if you're a human person or even if you're an alien. All right. So, Steph, any final words before we get the heck out of here?
Yeah, if you are somebody that, and again, you may own a lot of Misfit stuff already, but just remember there's 2 bonus stories in it. So keep that in mind. This is still, and it's all collected in one book. So, it's a little bit easier to have on your shelf than pulling from any of the other single issues that you may have of ours already. Or if you don't, we'd love for you to check it out. If you're somebody that is just like, this isn't the month that I can back any campaigns, then sharing is caring. Share it, tell people about it, help us get the word out because you never know. We had, with this campaign, we've already seen it. And with the last campaign, we saw a lot of backers that came from somebody else in one way, shape, or form, whether it was they, backed somebody else's campaign or heard about ours. It was word of mouth type of thing is what I'm getting at. And so even if you aren't able to back for whatever reason, if you can help us by sharing, getting the word out about old Misfits here, we would greatly appreciate it.
All right. So that being said, make sure that you get yourself over to tinyurl.com/M Clubhouse. That is where you want to be. tinyurl.com/M Clubhouse. That is going to get you to the Misfits Clubhouse, all the shenanigans so far campaign. We thank you for showing up, watching us, listening to us being silly, for commenting. So thankful for all you guys that were commenting out there.
It was nice to see a lot of the comments. Sometimes the comment section's a little quiet, but tonight you guys showed up, which was nice and made it fun.
So we thank you guys for all of it. And without further ado, we're going to get the heck out of here. So we'll see you next time right here on the Blog of Destiny from Insymmetry Creations. See ya.